What's going on? What's going on? So, welcome to the live stream. This is Edward Williams, founder and creator of Health by Necessary. And, I wanted to give my little take, my feedback about this Popeye's chicken excitement everybody's having. So, I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of input, but also bring some intelligence and consciousness and awareness to this conversation. So I'm currently outside of Popeye's Chicken. I live in Orlando, Florida, right? And I just finished talking to a young brother who works here, and we had a pretty good bill. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So I'm currently in a place, in an area that is labeled as a lower economic status. Some people would call it the hood. For those who live in Orlando, it's called Pine Hills, and you already know what that means, right? And what I want to do is give you all just a brief view of the surroundings, and then I want to talk about Popeye's Chicken, the sandwich, right? So hold on real quick. Let me give you all a brief view of the surroundings. So here is Popeye's Chicken, right? When I first pulled up here, this drive-through line was all the way out here, right? When I first pulled through, the line has gotten short. This parking lot is full. Y'all know what time it is over here in Orlando? It's 10:54. I pulled up here at 10:30. Popeye's Chicken has just opened, and the line was already backed up. I just finished speaking to the brother who works here, and he was telling me that, yo, it's been crazy this whole entire week. He's like, our lines have been packed, the parking lot has been packed, inside has been packed. He's like, we making buku money. Now, he said we, and I was like, you mean the company's making buku money? He's like, well, yeah. And I was like, because, you don't get much of that at all. You don't like really get any of that. But he was like, yo, it's been mad crazy. And I was like, yo, brother, tell me something. Most of the people who've been pulling up here, do they look like you and I? He's like, oh yeah, of course. He's like, yeah, of course. Now, what I want y'all to take a look at is the overall surrounding the area. All right, so here goes Popeye's Chicken. Like I said, this line was wrapped around at 10:30 when I first pulled up here. Now, there goes a tire shop. There goes a Payday, Advance, Chinese restaurant, Wendy's. What is that over there? Tax place, loan, ice cream. You have a health clinic, which they don't like me over there. And then we're going to keep on talking about what else I see over here. So let's keep it real. Popeye's Chicken, a lot of times we see it in our community, right? And a lot of times we see Church's Chicken, KFC, just some chicken spot. And Popeye's Chicken, they have made, they have generated so much free promotion, mainly because of us, African Americans, black people. I still don't think we understand and we haven't grasped. Look at this line. It just went down. It's going back up. We still haven't grasped the concept that we are cultural influences. We haven't grasped the concepts that we are leaders in this thing we call culture and entertainment and everything like that. Other people can do stuff, but it's different. It hit different when we do it, because of the swag, because of the influence, multiple things, right? So it just hit different. And Popeye's Chicken was able to generate over $23 million in one day. They amassed millions of dollars of free promotion because of the videos and everything, made by us. A lot of those videos going viral. The back and forth between which sandwich is better, Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes, the conversation that's surrounding it all, on and on and on and on. I want to kind of break down the anatomy and physiology of these plazas, right? And I have something really big that I want to get to, but I'm going to kind of break down the anatomy and physiology when we see these plazas, specifically in our community. So let me turn this camera around. So there goes a medical place, right? A little medical clinic. I'm gonna try to walk a little fast. And so you see those a lot in plazas, you know. Like I said, this is an area that they would consider to be lower economic status. They would also consider it to be the hood. Some people would also consider it to be, well, if you live in Orlando, this is Pine Hills, and you already know. So this is the clinic right here. I've dealt with patients from this clinic. They don't like me because it's very frequently that I'm taking their patients off of medications, or we're starting them on something completely different. And the advice and recommendations that I'm giving them is completely different. So we don't see eye to eye. There goes a Rainbows, that's a clothing shop. And right over here, we have a hair spot, right? So the whole Popeyes chicken thing, you know, honestly, I have not had the sandwich. I don't plan on having the sandwich. The sandwich. And I don't, so I can't really give a review. What I want to do is give a review of our behavior and our tactics. This is not a lecture. This is not a sermon. I'm not preaching. This is a hair shop. But I need for us to be able to peep game and understand how we have a tendency, a habit of promoting some of our number one enemies. We have a habit of promoting people who work directly against us. We have a habit of promoting people who could care less about us. And Popeyes is one of them, right? I've just pointed the camera, you can't see it, but Popeyes is one of them. I mean, their overall ownership, I think it's like restaurant brands or something like that. You know, multi-billion-dollar place. Check this out. Here goes a liquor shop, right? So this is a liquor store. And I know y'all heard me say this multiple times. I don't know if people just think I'm just BSing or what, but this is a liquor spot right here, right? So what do we have over there? Anybody know what that is? Anybody know what Davita, Dallas's clinic is? Anybody? Can anybody on the live stream tell me what Davita, Dallas's clinic is? Right? Now, once again, Popeyes is right here. Can y'all see Popeyes? Popeyes is the one with the cars, the line of cars wrapped around the building. This is Davita, Dallas's clinic. You can throw a rock at it. That's a liquor spot. Right down there. Nail shop, you know they gotta get their money from you. Hair shop, you know they gotta get their money from you. Little clinic, and at a clinic, just sending people down here, you know they gotta get their money from you. And so, let me turn this camera around again. So, what type of mindset, audacity, do you have to have a place called Davita Dallas's? Dallas's is pretty much, this is where you have to have a machine doing the job of your kidneys, because your kidneys have quote unquote failed. They're no longer working. Your kidneys are an extremely important organ, of course, because your kidneys, they're responsible for filtering your blood. If the kidneys can't work, toxins are going to build up in the bloodstream, and then you die. You become very sick, and then ultimately die. So people end up on dialysis because of kidney failure. The number one cause of kidney failure is type 2 diabetes, right? Type 2 diabetes is the number one cause of kidney failure. How does one become diabetic? One becomes diabetic only by eating processed foods. All right, you can have the whole conversation and debate about, it's carbs, it's proteins. Don't use that language. Like that's their conversation. The language to use is either whole foods, real foods, or processed foods. You become diabetic by eating processed foods. No one has ever become diabetic from eating whole foods, regardless if it's carbs or whatever. No one's become diabetic because they're sitting around eating apple all day. Why? Because that apple has a community of nutrients, fiber, vitamins and minerals in it. And yes, it does have sugar in it, but guess what? You can only eat so much apples. No one's become diabetic from just sitting around eating grapes. You only become diabetic from eating processed foods. And an example of processed foods, for sure, would be Popeyes, right? So we need to ask ourselves, what type of audacity does it take to place a dialysis clinic in a community and surround it by the very foods and the very things that will now cause the downfall of your health? So, I mean, it looks like a well set up design, because you have the foods, you have the drinks, you have the pawn shops, you have the loan stores, you have the gun shops right around here. Like, everything is set up in place to either lead you to jail, prison, locked up, dead, or in one of these clinics, or something that's going to lead you to dialysis. So now, mind you, the community looks horrible. The community looks horrible. The streets, the trash, it looks horrible. And if you live in this area, you know what I'm talking about. It looks horrible, right? How can you have a dialysis clinic place itself in the midst of this? Now, what happens is the dialysis clinic, these people, they don't just come into a plaza without talking to the leaders of these other businesses and without knowing what's going on. They know very well what's going on. They know very well how it all is set up. And so they prefer to come in these plazas in the black community that is surrounded by the liquor stores, that's surrounded by the gun shop, that's surrounded by death and destruction, essentially, because they know a lot of you will actually end up on their dialysis machine. Now, let me tell you a little bit about dialysis again. Once again, this is a procedure that takes place. People will have to commit the rest of their lives to being on dialysis for 3 to 4 days. Each procedure is going to last 3 to 4 hours. You need to understand that these dialysis clinics, this DaVita dialysis clinic right here, has an extremely low overhead. What do I mean by that? I mean that the money it takes to actually run and sustain this business is very low. So when you're talking about clinics, you have to pay full-time staff. You have to pay the front desk. You have to pay the people, the MAs. You have to pay the nurses, and then your biggest, a lot of time, your biggest payout is going to go to the doctors and the medical directors, right? Now the doctors and the PAs or the nurse practitioners, those are going to be your biggest payout. You're looking at paying them 6 figures a year. And so with a DaVita clinic, it is one of the only clinics out of all these medical clinics we got, is one of the only clinics where you do not have to have a doctor or PA or nurse practitioner on staff or on site. It's one of the few places you do not have to have them on site. Boom, you just chopped out six figures. You just chopped that out. You have to have a nurse on site, and you have to have a tech on site. But as far as the medical director, you have to have a medical director, but medical directors really don't get paid much. But the doctor on site, you do not have to have a doctor on site. Now, people who know anything about dialysis, you're having loved ones on dialysis, or if you used to work at a dialysis clinic, you know it's very frequent. It's very common for people to have become sick, nausea, vomiting, become really cold, shaky, have adverse reactions, or even die at these clinics, right? We know that is the truth. How do you finesse the game where you don't even need a doctor on site? So anyways, that cuts down the overhead. And so the dialysis is one of the few procedures that no matter what your financial status is, the government will pay for you to become get on dialysis. It's one of the few, and that became in action in 1972 by Richard Nixon, right? So in 1972, he pretty much did a partial universal health care, but specifically for the kidneys. If you need dialysis, don't worry, we Gucci, I got you, we got you, right? And so DaVita is very interesting because their whole setup, you never seen anybody beat the case the way DaVita has beat the case. Let me just show y'all real quick who DaVita is, just in case y'all forgot. DaVita, this place right over here, dialysis clinic, they have gone to court and beat the case time after time after time. DaVita dialysis clinic has paid billions in settlement because they don't really fight the case, they just pay it off, right? Because they're like, yo, we don't have time for that, and time is money. Like, we don't have time to be trying to debunk and prove people around. We rather just throw money at the people. And so they have a budget set aside for legal action. So DaVita, their CEO, I forgot the guy's name. This guy is a sideshow. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I literally mean he's a sideshow. This guy, go look him up. When he does his meetings dressed up like a musketeer. He rides into his meetings on horses, doing flips, all these type of things. He says that he runs his DaVita dialysis clinics like a Taco Bell. You have the reason why they have so many people speaking out against them, the workers, the techs, is because it's very often that these people get told to throw certain medications away so that we can build Medicare higher. It's very often they're told to hurry up and get people off of these machines so that we can get other people on the machines. Now, a full treatment is supposed to take 3 to 4 hours. You have these people who used to work for DaVita, these technicians, saying that many times they've been told, even if the whole treatment is not done, push them off because we need more patients in. And so each patient is worth at least $90,000 a year. At least $90,000 a year. And of course, the numbers can go up because when you start adding on the supplements that they're putting in there, like the iron and the vitamin D and everything else like that, the medications, the complications, the price continues to go up and up. But what you need to know is that one patient is worth at least $90,000 a year, right? So the more they can get in, the more money they're going to make. The overhead to actually run one of these clinics is very low because you don't even have to have a full-time doctor on staff. And I thought you had to have one on staff at all time, but you don't. I just found that out. You don't have to have one in the on site. And so these people make money hand over fist. They don't care for you. They don't love you. Their goal is to get you into there. And the way they get you into there is, see, it'd be one thing if you ate a chicken sandwich and you became diabetic. It'd be one thing, right? Then people would stop, right? But it's that subtle, slow, systematic seduction of the foods over time that leads you there. So they don't just drop you into the dialysis clinic. Like, we got to make money off of you while you're headed to your way to the dialysis clinic. So go to the dialysis clinic, cool, no problem. But let us get some of that. Like, let us get some of that money you got. We know you got money, you got benefits. You can let us get some of that. And so what you have are savages, essentially. You have people who are predators. And anybody who can look at a setup like this, where I can show y'all around this plaza. I mean, I told you, it's us around it. Look at this line. This line is steadily growing. It goes down and then it goes right back. This is Popeye's chicken line. Mind you, I rolled up here at 10:30 in the morning. The line was already wrapped around the building. The brother last night told me this whole entire, they had to go out and redirect the line in the actual, for Popeyes to inside the actual parking lot. And he said they had an S thing going on because so many people were buying the chicken. So for us we have to understand this. We have to understand how warfare works. Warfare is going on. Like, warfare is not about bloodshed, mothers crying, babies dying. Like, that's war, right? Warfare is that subtle, systematic, consistent action that you may be taking against yourself, or that someone else may be taking against you without you knowing, that's going to ultimately lead to your downfall. Like, you may think it's good for you, you may be enjoying it, but ultimately it's going to lead to your downfall. And so when I see so many videos of us promoting these folks who don't care for you, they don't love you, like, they will slam your grandmother on the dialysis in a heartbeat. She's just a number. Your grandpa, just a number. You, just a number. I don't care about y'all. They don't care about you. So to promote these folks with these mindsets, because once again, who allows this setup to happen? Clinics, medical clinic, and then a dialysis clinic, and then liquor shop, Popeyes, Chinese restaurant, Wendy's. Like, these folks are laughing at you, right? They're laughing at you. And I don't even care about how they feel or what they think. I don't care about how they feel and how they think. How do you feel, right? How do you feel knowing that people are profiting off of your sickness, your misery, your suffering? How do you feel knowing that people are literally making billions of dollars every single year consistently off of your pain and your suffering. And then on top of that, we turn around and we give them free promotion. Yo, this chicken sandwich is dope. Oh my goodness, I don't know. Chick-fil-A might got its match and this and that. Yo, share this video. Let me know. And none of these folks love you. None of these folks will put any type of money. Like, if you making billions of dollars in a community, you would think that, yo, let's kind of clean the community up. They're like, no. Don't do anything for them. We don't have to do anything for them. They'll give us money, and we'll take the money from their community. Like, we extract their wealth from the community. The things we do place in their community is only going to give us more money. So we'll take this $23 million of free promotion, publicity, and everything else you guys did for us. Thank you. You know, we give you a thank you. But as far as giving you anything tangible, value, anything that's going to benefit you, anything that's going to help you, nah. We do that for our community. So we'll take this money and put it back into our community. And then you just look at the Asian restaurants around. Like, we got, what is that? There's two Chinese restaurants or fast food, whatever you call it, in this one plaza, right? There's a nail shop. Once again, this is, sorry excuse for a medical clinic right here. Like how I couldn't, I mean, me personally, I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I was part of this system. I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I was literally making money hand over fist. And the people who I was doing it against had no idea this line is growing and growing. It's about to be in the streets. And so we just gotta peep game. Like, we keep thinking that thugs and gangsters and, people who are predators, like, we think that exists in the streets. Like, nah, like, the biggest thugs and gangsters and predators, the biggest ones exist in the business world. Like, the biggest ones exist in corporations. You don't even see them. They dress in suits. They carry a briefcase, maybe, but they don't look like the lie you've been sold, which is me. Like, they don't look like me. Like, what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Run up on you, rob you? Like, come on. Like, these people are savages, they're cutthroat, and they don't care for you. And so it bothers me when I see my people giving so much free promotion on a topic, on a subject, and sharing these videos, making these videos go viral, and these folks are extracting wealth from your community. They extract that wealth from your community and do nothing with it for you. Now, for them, they'll probably invest in another dialysis clinic. They'll probably invest in another clinic, medical clinic. They'll probably invest in so much more. But what you need to understand is type 2 diabetes is an epidemic, specifically in our community. You need to understand that the goal is to help you ride out this idea of diabetes for as long as we can. It's called diabetes management. The goal is to get you to manage this thing as long as you can, not too high, not too low. Take these medications. Now, will these medications affect your kidney? Maybe, I don't know. Will these medications affect your pancreas? Maybe, I don't know. Will these medications increase your risk of heart disease, dying, stroke? Maybe, I don't know. The answer to all those questions is yes, they will, right? And so this is it's a long game, right? This is the long tail. Like, this is chess. This is chess. Because no matter how much medications you take for type 2 diabetes, and these are actual facts, right? No matter how many medications you take for the management of type 2 diabetes, you can try to keep your sugars as tight as you want. But guess what? The medications don't work. They won't provide you any tangible benefits. Yes, you will be able to high-five your doctor because the glucometer shows a lower number. Yes, you'll be able to high-five your doctor because the A1C looks to be better. But I need y'all to get into the idea of understanding or asking yourself the question, do you own your health or are you renting your health? Because if you are taking a medication that makes you look and appear healthy based on metrics, like aesthetically, it may not work out. But based on metrics, if you're taking a medication that's lowering your numbers, lowering your A1C, lowering your glucose, lowering your cholesterol numbers, lowering your blood pressure, right? You're doing that. If you stop taking those medications, what happens? The numbers go right back up. Numbers go right back up. So one has to ask himself the question, if I stop taking the medications and my numbers go right back up, what were the medications doing in the first place? That is called rented results, leased results. The results you thought you had did not belong to you. The same way you are renting an apartment or renting a house, you can do whatever you want to that house. Like, you can go and renovate it. You can put marble countertops in there. You can put a waterfall in the back. You can get all fancy as you want. You can do the whole Scarface setup. When it's time to go and that landlord knocks on your door and he's like, hey man, check it out. We want to move back in here, so you got to go. All right, cool. So I just put that waterfall back there. You know, can I take that? Can you compensate me for that? And they're like, no. And you're like, yo, but this house looks dope. I know my house does look dope, but you got to go. And so that's how it is when you're taking these medications. They do not show any benefits as far as it pertains to mortality and mortality and morbidity. Will the numbers look better? Yes. But when you go look at the studies, the trials that came out in 2008 called the Accord study, what that Accord study, that trial did was it blew this whole thing about diabetes management completely out the water. Now, you won't ever hear about it because the trial came out along with 4 other trials, the Accord study, the VDAT study, VDAT study, the Advanced study, and I can't remember the other name of the other study. Their goal was to prove that tight management of blood sugar with medications would decrease mortality and morbidity, because the number one reason diabetics die is because of heart disease. You know what these trials came out showing? These medications increase heart disease. These medications increase strokes. These medications increase kidney failure. These medications increase every single little thing you think you're taking it for. These medications increase it. Accord study, Advanced study, VDAT, VDAT. Go look it up. So you can't trust them on that side. You damn sure can't trust them on this side. Everybody's making money while we're living in poverty. And then we're gonna give them free promotion? For what? And then you got the American Diabetic Association pushing these ads on Facebook, asking for donations so they can find a cure. Come on, man. The finesse, the level of finesse, these folks don't like you, they never did, and they never will. You gotta do for yourself. We gotta do for ourselves. It's very simple. It's very simple. You gotta cut them off. Don't protest, don't march, don't do none of that shit. Don't do none of that. You're wasting energy. Just stop supporting them, point blank, period. Anyone who will profit off of your downfall is not a friend of yours, and it's definitely not a friend of your future generation to come. So why continue trying to work something out with them? Yo, if you stab me already, there's no apologies. There's no we'll do better next time. No, you lucky I don't kill you. Like, you lucky we don't put you in the trunk. So the idea of continuing to try to work with them and try to figure out another way to work, no. My community, we need to get back into the habit of fasting. We need to get back into the habit. I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that fasting will radically improve the health conditions of our community overnight. Now, this fasting is actually the one thing that the majority of this healthcare system agrees that you should not do. That's what they agree that you should not do, right? And you should question that, right? Because they do all this fear mongering about what could possibly happen if you start fasting, your blood sugar dropping down too low and all these things. So they scare the hell out of you when it comes to the idea of not eating anything, because that's all fasting is. They scare the crap out of you about abstaining from foods. But when it comes to the possible side effects that you may experience when you're taking these medications, what do? Yo, they put some air in your chest, like they embolden you. All right, I'm gonna let you know, this medication you're about to take called lisinopril, it may cause you to stop breathing. It may make your lips swell up. It may make your tongue swell up, but it's okay. Just, understand that could happen. Make sure you go straight to the hospital. Call the EMS, get straight to the hospital. This medication that you're about to take, called a glimepiride, a glyburide, or a glipizide, one of these sulfonylureas, it may cause your blood sugar to go dramatically low because it forces the pancreas to secrete insulin. Whether you have glucose or not, it's going to make your pancreas secrete insulin. It may cause tumors to grow in your pancreas. Maybe. However, if you experience shaking, if you experience fainting, if you experience feeling chills, if you experience feeling lightheaded and dizzy, if you experience feeling like you have no idea where you're at, you're experiencing hypoglycemia that was caused by these medications, and you need to call 911. So they will embolden you about the side effects of these medications. But when it comes to fasting, they're like, oh, no, 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 no. You can't do fasting. Don't do fasting. No, fasting is it's just not good. And you're like, why? It's just bad. Why? Like they start sounding like Trump. It's just very, very bad. It's very, very bad. Why? It's just horrible. It's awful. Like they'll change up the words they're using to describe what they don't know. But these medications, yeah, take it now. I need you to know. You know, you need to wear a badge saying that you're diabetic and you take these medications. So when people find you passed out on the floor, they'll know what's going on. So they embolden you on the side. Let me let you know something. If you are tough enough, because, and I do mean tough, if you're tough enough, strong enough to take these medications and take on what they do to your body, because they chemically alter the physiology of your body. They downregulate receptors. They force enzymes to be inhibited. They force the pancreas to secrete insulin, even though it doesn't want to. They force your blood vessels to dilate, even though it doesn't want to. Like they force your heart to slow down the contractility and the heart rate, even though it doesn't want to. Like they do all of these things. They go in there and they kick in the doors. There's no balance. They're not asking for anything. They're taking what they want. So if you're bold enough and strong enough and tough enough to take these medications that go in and do whatever they want, they kick in the doors and shoot everything that's moving. Trust me, you can withstand fasting, bro. Like with fasting is just abstaining from food. You're just drinking water. So that is the first thing that we can do that will radically improve the health of our community overnight. Highly, I recommend that we get into the habit of eating one meal a day. I mean, and I know that's a lot for a lot of people, but you got to understand what will take place when that happens. You got to understand the process of autophagy and how autophagy is what we all need. You have to understand what's going to happen to your glucose once you're doing that. And so they got this thing where they finesse the game and make you think that your glucose is just going to bottom out and you're going to die. No, that bottom out and dying happens with the medications called the sulfonylureas. That's why the sulfonylureas have a black, if y'all taking, look, once again, this is not medical advice. I got to do my bomber. This is not medical advice. You should not start or stop taking medications without the recommendations of your healthcare provider. However, for educational purposes, you got to understand that these sulfonylureas, the glypyride, the glimepirides, the glycerides, these medications have what they call a black box warning. And what these black box warnings say is that, all right, you're taking this medication because you're diabetic, and we want to control your blood sugar. So the reason why we want to control your blood sugar is because we found that has a high correlation with increased stroke, heart attacks, kidney disease. So you're taking this medication, but we need to let you know that the medication you're taking to prevent those things may actually cause those things. Come on now. Black box warning. Like, y'all can go and read it. Like, I'm not lying about anything I'm saying. Right? And so these medications have a black box warning. These folks are making money hand and fist off of our suffering, off of our sickness, off of our confusion inside of the system. My video's messing up. And so we just got a peep game. We have to be real. The same awareness that you have when you're on the streets, the same level of questioning that you have when you're out dealing in the streets and among your community, you have to have that times 10 when you're dealing with this medical system, times 10. All right, like the days of just thinking you can trust your doctor is long gone. Matter of fact, black people, African Americans, you ain't never had them days. You ain't never had them days. Does Tuskegee syphilis experiments ring any bells in any of your heads? That 40-year experiment? Does Henrietta Lack ring any bells in anybody's head? Does Anarcha Westcott ring any bells in anybody's head? So those days for America in general is over. For you, it never began, right? And so we have to do for ourselves. Like I said, fasting, we all have to get into the habit of fasting. I mean, whether you're eating 2 meals a day, preferably, I mean, 1 meal a day, but 2 meals a day, that's fine. This whole idea that you need to eat frequently so that you can rev up your system. The next time somebody tell you that, tell them to explain that shit. Like, all right, I hear you talking about my body like it's a vehicle, like it's a car, like it's a motorcycle. You're telling me I need to eat 6 small meals a day so that my metabolic system can rev up. Explain that shit to me. Explain that to me. Why do I need to eat perpetually? Is that the problem from our community? Is that we're not eating enough? So we need to eat more? Is that the problem? Okay, explain it to me. Next, what we need to be doing is drinking water. Yo, we got to cut out all these juices and sodas. That's just going to send your blood glucose up. That's going to send your insulin up. That's going to increase your viscosity of your blood. That's going to cause your blood pressure to increase, your heart contractility to also increase. It's going to cause inflammation. I mean, you're drinking, when you're drinking sodas and juices, you're drinking liquid diabetes. Like, this is liquid diabetes. It's going to help further manage your diabetes as far as keeping it around, like not letting it reverse. And that's another thing you need to know. This very, very simple and plain. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. All right, type 2 diabetes is reversible. Matter of fact, type 2 diabetes is not even a disease. The reason why your glucose is elevated is simply due to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a protective mechanism. This is where your cells have made the intelligent decision to downregulate the insulin receptors. Why? Because the cells are filled with glucose. The same reason they want you to get that blood sugar down in your bloodstream, which is, they say, is because of what they call AGE, advanced glycation end products. They say that every time that high glucose touches any structure in your body, it's going to glycate, it's going to deteriorate, it's going to advance to aging. Well, when you take these diabetes medications and it lowers your blood sugar, riddle me this, Batman. If you take diabetes medications and it lowers your blood sugar, where does that blood sugar go? Where did that blood sugar go? If it's not in your bloodstream anymore, where did it go? It's in your cells, right? So we're supposed to think that the damage that was going on in the bloodstream doesn't happen in the cells. We're supposed to think that the body just is broken, it's dysfunctional. It was keeping the glucose out of the cells for no reason. Look, there's a reason why they call diabetes 1 and diabetes 2, why they use the same nomenclature. I call it nefarious nomenclature, because type 1 diabetes is where the pancreas does not produce any insulin. Type 1 diabetes is said to be a autoimmune condition. Type 1 diabetes is said to be non-reversible. I can't speak strongly on type 1 diabetes because that is not my area. However, I will body the hell out of type 2 diabetes all day long. So type 2 diabetes is 180 degrees different from type 1, because your pancreas is secreting more than enough insulin. And so with type 1, your pancreas does not secrete insulin because the beta cells have been destroyed. Therefore, you don't have the insulin, and the insulin is what attaches to the receptor on the cells to allow glucose into those cells. When you don't have insulin, you now have what they call internal starvation. Internal starvation is a real term, but type 1 diabetics have it. This is where you have all of this glucose in the bloodstream, but since you don't have insulin, the insulin can't get inside the cells. And so usually type 1 diabetes is diagnosed when people are kids. So like it's diagnosed when that's why it used to be called childhood onset type 1 diabetes. And this, what happens is the children start losing a lot of weight. They may also have sweet smelling urine. The mother or the father or someone may also notice that there's ants around the toilet, and that's because if the child is urinating on the floor, then the ants are going to be attracted to it because they're literally urinating out glucose. And the reason why they're losing weight is because the cells are not being nourished with the glucose. That's type 1. And so what they did when they called type 2 diabetes type 2, it gave everybody the impression that type 2 diabetes was just a more advanced level of type 1, right? And so now you're getting treated as a type 2 diabetic as if you're just a more advanced type 1 diabetic. And the reason why I say this is because you actually have insulin. If you're a type 2 diabetic, your pancreas is still producing insulin. In type 2 diabetes, you do not have internal starvation. Even though they continue to tell you this lie time after time, you do not have internal cell starvation. Your cells, the problem with your cells is that they're actually filled max capacity with glucose. They are filled max capacity with glucose. And when that happens, your body is going to make an intelligent decision to downregulate those insulin receptors, because we don't have any room for them, no more. And so what these medications go and do, they say, phooey, forget all that. Forget all that science, forget all that anatomy, physiology, forget all that crap. Kicking the doors, 2 guns up, we're shooting everything that's moving. You over there, you, get down, come here. Bam, like, get in there. And so these medications they're either forcing the glucose into your cells, such as metformin, or they're punching the hell out of your pancreas, forcing it to increase the secretion of insulin. Those are the sulfonylureas, or you're either injecting more insulin. And so all of this is overriding the innate intelligence of the body. All of this is overriding something that your body does not want to happen. Like, your body has made the intelligent decision to downregulate these receptors because we are at full capacity. We don't need anymore. And when you take these medications, they override all of that. They overlook all of that, and they force it to take place. And so now that destruction that was taking place in your bloodstream, it keeps happening. However, you don't know about it because it's happening inside of your cells. Now, you'll know because things will continue to happen. Like, women will continue to miss their menstrual cycle. Men will start to increase the breast size, the breast tissue size, gynecomastia. The missed menstrual cycles will be called PCOS. Your blood pressure will increase. They'll call it hypertension. Your triglycerides, your cholesterol increase. They'll call that hypertriglyceridemia. They'll call it high cholesterol. You may have a stroke. You may have a heart attack. You may have kidney failure. You may have amputations, infections. You may have all these things, and they'll chop it up and call it multiple diseases, multiple conditions. But guess what? It's one thing: insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a protective mechanism. It's not a disease. It's only doing it because you have all of this glucose multiple times a day. The six small meals a day for a diabetic is destruction. Destruction. So we got to understand that when I turn this camera around and I show you all these cars sitting at Popeye's Chicken, and you look at all these videos that was made this week for Popeye's Chicken, giving them free advertising. And then I turn this camera around again and I show you DaVita, Dallas Clinic. And I tell you about how DaVita Dallas Clinic is making buku money, billions each year. They're also paying out billions for settlements. And dialysis is a lifelong procedure. Each patient is worth $90,000 each. African Americans, black people, my people, we need to understand that they say we make up 13% of the population. You know what percent you make up in that place over there called DaVita Dialysis? 40%. 40%. So we're definitely represented over there, right? Definitely represented over there. And look at this. So it's cool. I'm not here to wag fingers about, eat this, eat that, anything like that. That's a different stream. I'm not here for that right now. But what I am here for is to really dissect this promotion that we're doing on a massive level for the very foods that will cause our destruction, for the very companies and systems that don't care for you. They will do nothing for you other than profit off of you. So we got to do better. We got to stop promoting these people. We just cut them off. Like I said, we got to get into fasting, stop drinking all this juice and soda. We need vitamin D. Vitamin D is the reason why we have this health gap. We have to understand that vitamin D is not even a vitamin, it's a hormone. And if you are of African descent, you need vitamin D. Vitamin D, when your levels of vitamin D starts going down. And you understand the scale that you see on the blood work as far as the optimal range starting at 30, your optimal range starts at 60. And your vitamin D, it being low means a whole lot as far as you becoming sick and not being able to recover the way you need to recover. Of course, whole foods. We got to get back into whole foods. We got to understand that these foods that taste so good, they lead to your destruction as well too. I mean, we got to get back to whole foods. Whole foods. The processed foods, these folks behind me, all around us, they're sitting here profiting. They ain't eating this shit. They're not eating it. They're sitting here just profiting off of us, left and right. And you won't see Popeye's Chicken or any of these other places, DaVita, Dallas Clinic, any of the places that you're the number one consumer, they are not stepping up and stepping out for you when it comes to any type of issues going on in your community. And so we gotta think about that. Come on, man, we gotta stop being used. We gotta stop being passed around like that. You know what I'm getting to. We gotta stop being passed around like that. So that's it, y'all. I got an appointment I gotta get to with my car, get some things done to it, and that's it. All right. So I haven't read the comments, and that's because I'm late and I can't really see it because of the sun. But I'll come back on later and check it out. We have a challenge coming up. Like I said, fasting is my gospel. Fasting is everything. Fasting is king. Fasting is the one thing that I know will radically improve our health overnight. And so we have the Fast Life 28-day challenge coming up. It's currently open for enrollment right now. We start on September 2nd. Go ahead and sign up. If you sign up this weekend before Sunday, you'll be able to save 50% off. I mean, it's $49. It's $49 to learn how to radically improve your health. The copay for this little crappy ass clinic over here is roughly, what, $35 to get lied to. So we got to make our decisions. If you want to learn how to eat healthy, if you want to learn how to fast in a healthy way, if you want to learn how to heal your bodies without the medications, if you want to learn how to reverse your type 2 diabetes without getting hustled and played, join the Fast Life 20-day challenge. That's all I got to say. I love y'all. We got to do better. And I'll holler at y'all later, all right? Peace.